Hey, welcome back, Vol fans. Thanks for joining us again this week. Sorry to say we missed you last week. Bob and myself, our mother had a little medical emergency last week, and
Yeah.
glad to say she's feeling a lot better today.
Yeah.
But we unfortunately got to miss last week's episode, Bob. But we'll try to make up for it today.
Right.
Um, Coming off a bye week, we'll dive into a little bit on the men's basketball team and uh, the college football playoff in general. Do we even have a shot? Uh, is there a light at the end of that tunnel? And talk a little bit about Bob about just from here on out the rest of this year, the last three ball games.
Yeah.
Where are we positioned at?
Right.
You know,
Sounds good.
so if you want to start off, Bob, where would you like to start today?
Well, we'll start off basketball.
Okay.
You know, obviously wasn't a tough opponent, but we looked good putting away a weak opponent. Ament showed some of the flashes that we was wanting to see.
That's true.
Gillespie, him and Gillespie both shot 50% or more, which is something they'd struggled to do to this point. Probably the big story of the game was probably Estrella having a double, 17 points, 11 rebounds, shooting efficiency. And then Barnes saying after the game that he could do a lot more. So that's if he might be a player who's, if you want, say as a key going forward,
Well,
he
let's
can
go
be an
ahead.
inside presence.
Yeah, and coming into this year, what did we have thoughts? That we was a two-man scoring rotation.
Right.
Really,
We needed a
we
third.
needed a third guy.
Right.
Early to say he'll be that third guy, but
Could be.
that was a flash.
Right.
So, and we thought we had a fairly strong interior presence. Maybe not scoring as much as just overall, but I think Akpara had, I want to say, 11 rebounds his own self. Although he didn't score.
Struggled in the offensive area, but
Well, he's never going to be a skilled
no,
scorer, but I mean, I will say his offensive game has improved since he's been there.
right. If you don't look at yesterday, but
Yeah, and Carey, he struggled.
yeah, that uh, one kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought he would have that spot kind of locked down, but it may be slipping on him there, and
He may be slipping down the rotation.
could be. Cause I'll tell you another player that's impressed me. He didn't have a huge game yesterday, but he's super efficient. Is the freshman Dwayne Brown? I mean, I just like the way the guy plays. He moves. He reminds me offensively a little bit of Awaka in the fact it seemed like some of the offensive stuff is a little bit easier for him. He's got some actual natural offensive skill.
Well, Nawaka didn't have any offensive skills, though, did he, Bob?
Well,
He rebound like crazy.
I know, but Awaka did seem like when he first got down there, he did. I mean, I know he didn't have like great. It never seemed to progress, but and Awaka could never stay.
Well, he can't stay out of foul trouble.
Couldn't stay out of foul
That's
trouble
his-
long
that
enough
was his
to be
problem.
in the game, and
Yeah.
I think he would let his foul stuff affect his whole game a lot of times.
Well, he certainly had a lot of opportunity for that to happen.
But at least he did show flashes early on of having an offensive game, and
Well, Brown does. I mean, he was thought to be a redshirt candidate.
Yeah.
Not just candidate, but I think everybody penciled him in to be a redshirt year
right.
due to the depth we have, and he looks like he's too good to keep on the bench.
Yeah, he does. He does. I like it. I like his game. Um, you know, but I just I think what we just want to see in this game was a more efficient game from Mint and Gillespie as far as shooting, and wanted to see a little bit better the offense kind of grow, and I felt like both of those happened. And you wanted to see a third player score, and you did Estrellas. I think you had a lot of things. You was like having a list of things. Hey, I want to see this coming game, even though it was a weak opponent.
It was, and we got a few
Yeah.
more of those before it gets rougher. But you know, Tennessee's like a lot of teams today is they're using the pre-conference uh, to find out who they are. So many players are moving around now in the portal and whatnot that you're in a uh, year over year rebuild, trying to find who you are. I mean, uh, I would assume in a month our defense is going to be much better than what it is right now.
Right.
I can't imagine it. A Rick Barnes team continuing to play anything less than stellar defense.
Right. Yeah. Always going to be a good defensive team. One thing I think they do need to work on is turnovers. Seem like we've turned the ball over. Most of the time we're on the good end of that situation. We've been on the bad end too many times and turned the ball over a little bit more than what we should.
But right, yeah, it's early, and that's one of them things that we should get.
I think as the offense becomes more efficient, and you're having some people play a few minutes that wouldn't normally play. When won't play come SEC time. We didn't talk about it before the podcast, but we probably ought to mention, Lady Vols. They got beat by NC State, and then they come back and have an impressive win against ETSU. I wouldn't take too much against the NC State game. It was basically a road game, and they allowed that big 6'6" girl, or I think she's 6'6".
Yeah,
just to do whatever she could. Just like it reminded me of Edie for Purdue, kind of protection she got seemed like. But
well, the day before we also had kicked Ruby Whitehorn off the team.
Right, and that sure didn't help matters none either. I mean, you wasn't prepared for that,
Yeah, play them again later in the year. I'll take the Lady Vols.
Yes, on a neutral court, a really neutral court, and I definitely say Lady Vols win that ball game. I still think they're a Final Four team this year. They got a lot of young players, and they've got a large roster of players, and I'm sure they're still figuring out where those girls fit in the lineup and their minutes.
Oh yeah.
And Kim didn't hold nothing back. Talking about all this stuff, she says they've got a lot of room to grow, and you kind of like to hear that when she said I think she is expecting a lot more out of it. But well, let's talk a bit about our favorite sport, Tim, football. Let's first talk about the playoffs. Let's look at that. Overall, you have weeks where it's good for you and bad for you for what happens. I think yesterday was a overall good day for Tennessee as far as could they possibly squeak in. I've said all along 9-3 wouldn't get it, but it's looking more more reasonable after yesterday.
Well, the door got cracked open a little bit.
Yeah.
After the loss the other day, honestly ended our playoff chances.
Right.
Or it seemed to have.
Yeah, seemed to have. Well, we're going to need a lot.
And we still got a lot more to go before we have to take care of business with our own self.
Right.
The New Mexico State team this coming weekend that we got to put away.
Yeah.
Going down to the swamp. I think they had about 15 players. The Gators missed out due to, quote, injuries.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Now, I would tell you that injuries in 2 weeks, they'll be a lot healthier. My question is, are those multiple players just shutting it down?
Yeah, I wonder about that. We've seen it before on our end, I feel like. And I could imagine if our team had the record Florida's got.
Yeah, you just got your coach fired and everything. And I think a lot of guys are either ready for their NFL career or getting ready for their next team.
And I hope that's what's happening. I fully expect, Tennessee's luck that, all of them will be back. Zoned in, come Tennessee game time. That's what I expect. But the teams that lost yesterday, that was good for us. I know there's not a lot of wasn't a lot of big time schools, but it was the schools that we felt like
Well, we
we
need
would be struggling if they had.
it was
you know,
conferences like the ACC. You need the
Yeah.
ACC to get one team in,
Right,
and then you had Louisville, you had Virginia,
right.
uh, getting beat.
That was good for us.
Yeah,
And then last week, Georgia Tech getting a loss, Miami getting a loss. That was good for us because it's looking more and more like the ACC.
it could be a
Could
one-team
be a
league.
one team in there. And then we was looking at teams like BYU. They was undefeated, I think, coming into this week. They need a couple of losses, and they got one this week.
Yeah, and they'll get another in their conference championship game.
Yeah, and they still got a couple more hard teams to play too. So
Yeah, and then what loss they had this week was a good. It was kind of they got spanked.
right. A team like Washington could be a team that we'd be fighting for at the end, and Missouri and Iowa, all them teams lost, and Virginia. Virginia was a team that I could have seen creeping in there because they was playing pretty good ball. But yeah, all these middle of the road teams that I thought we was going to be battling for that needed to lose did lose. So overall, I think it was a good week for
It,
playoff hopes.
yeah, it actually. I guess the best way to me putting it is it didn't go ahead and just slam the door shut all the way.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
It left it, cracked
But-
open a little bit.
yeah, there's a glimmer of hope. It looks more likely like the conference will get 5 teams in possibly. And we talked about us being the 5th team. Obviously, it took a beating with the Oklahoma game,
Right.
but
But a team that we might have been battling for, possibly, in conference, might have been an LSU or Missouri, both losing. So that's good.
yes,
Vanderbilt won, which is good for us because if we're going to sneak back into this thing, a team like Vanderbilt needs to keep winning, other than when they play us.
yeah, we need a quality win
Yeah,
to bump us. And if you were to finish the year tied record wise with Vanderbilt and we beat them on the
Head to
last
head.
week head to
Yeah.
head,
right.
there's no way you don't jump them.
Right.
Even though that'd be one of the best stories in college football for Vanderbilt to make the playoff.
Right, it would be. Yeah,
So I mean, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. I'd probably be looking to see where some bows down in Tampa or Florida is right now for your vacation plans in January. But
right.
but as Jim Carrey says, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So
Well, what about the team ourselves, Tim? I know. I guess the two players that draws interest as far as I'm concerned is McCoy going to play from here on out, and actually another player, even though I don't think it really matters as far as our team goes, is Boo Carter going to play anymore rest of the year. That's 2 players we wonder if we're going to see.
what with Boo Carter? Didn't play a defensive snap against Oklahoma. Returned a few punts, but really did nothing in the punt return game. Had a couple opportunities to return stuff. He just fair caught it. I'm going to go ahead and say he doesn't play another down for Tennessee.
I would say that's a good bet because even he muffed another one. You got to catch the ball, number one. I don't care how good you are returning. You've got to catch it, and then you got to return it if it's returnable.
Yeah, you're not out there playing any other snaps. Make a name for yourself when you have an opportunity.
I think speaking of mailing it in, I think that's one that's mailed it in.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
That was a mistake bringing him back. But it's easy to say looking hindsight 2020, they say.
Yeah.
And
I was on board bringing him back. I was wrong on
Yeah.
that. We have a lot of opinions on this podcast, and we're just Tennessee fans, but I don't care a bit to say the ones that
we miss on.
we miss on. I probably talk about that more than the ones that I brag on. and that we got right.
We definitely
that-
missed on that one. And of course, his mama was back in the news again.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that shocked me a bit.
yeah,
She'll be in
no,
the
on
news
social media
whenever-
again, sharing text messages from Coach Inge.
Yeah.
Um, the text messages themselves wasn't horrible. I mean, the whatnot. Don't be sharing private text messages between you and the coaches on
Right.
social media.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, stupid people do some stupid things, and she's showed plenty of opportunities to do that. That. I mean, she does it all.
Bottom line is, it's obvious where Boo's getting his maturity issues from.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
The better news, though, I would have told you after we lost to Oklahoma that more than likely McCoy shuts it down, but he seems to have continued practice. And at this point, I'm kind of expecting to see him play a few snaps this coming week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If we can get him back for the stretch run.
Get him a few snaps this week, and I wouldn't overdo him even against the Vanderbilt last game of the year.
But man, if this defense, you talking about what's the path? Can Tennessee get in? I think the path is some of these teams that need to lose keep losing.
Yeah, big part of it.
But I think we need to start showing, if McCoy was come back, showing that we got a pulse defensively. I think if the people start seeing that we're getting better as a team, our defense is getting better, I think that would go a long ways. At the end of the thing, when people are starting to look, okay, these three teams are fighting for a spot, and Tennessee's starting to look better.
Well, if you get an All-American candidate back on defense, that's quote in the news. Okay, yeah. So when you're in a committee, you're sitting back and you're saying, "Well, we see this Tennessee's defense has improved since they got their All-American cornerback,
right?
Yeah, has returned." In their mind, whether or not he's actually played well or not, in their mind, they think now we're seeing the real defense.
Yeah, this team can actually do something in the playoffs. They're not just a, Yeah, I'm sure
it's a psychological boost in the
mean,
minds of the committee.
If I'm looking at that last spot and I'm thinking, okay, do we want a team that's earned it maybe record-wise, or a team that could make some noise? I think you're wanting a team that kind of in between, but a team that you're like, okay, this team can make some noise down the stretch. You know what I mean, you've seen what Ohio State did last year. They got hot at the right moment.
Yeah, because Ryan Day went from being on the hot seat.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, probably
destroying every team in front of him.
Fired.
Yeah,
we're playing us.
He was the seat was hot. I mean, it really was.
It was. Yeah.
They was tired of him getting every resource in the world to put together the best roster in football, right, and still losing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he went on, I think, probably the best run in the history of college football, going through the playoffs where they just really destroyed everybody. We think about how they killed us. We were just another duck in the road.
I know, honestly, it was crazy.
They killed everybody.
They looked like, the most dominant team I've ever seen in the playoffs. And, and we thought we had a good shot at them, beating them. We played them. Little did we know they apparently only been playing half their starters for what looked like,
Well, they were a buzzsaw in the playoffs,
yeah,
and we were just the first one that got mowed down.
Yeah.
But yes, you could have, potentially, if they say that they're going to put more emphasis on strength of schedule instead of just pure record.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had the most difficult strength of schedule this year,
yeah,
but it might eliminate a few other people in front of us.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, hopefully this coming week we have some more teams along the line that we need to lose, to continue to lose. Hopefully the basketball team continues to make progress, and I think overall make some good good moves as far as positioning us.
Well, this
We
week,
play Houston. What? How many games away? Like 3-4 games away.
yeah, fourth, I think.
Yeah,
or something
somewhere
like
around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We need to get better. But
Yeah.
we're showing
that. Yeah, I
progress.
wouldn't even
That's
be
what you
that
want.
concerned about winning against Houston. I don't think it's a red flag unless we just blow it out.
Right.
You just want improvement. Last week was a rough week on the hill.
Yeah.
In about all sports, it felt like.
Right.
This week's look a little bit
A
better.
little better. Yeah, a little better. Yeah, I agree.
So, guys, on that note, thanks for joining us again.
Mhm.
Hope to see you again next week.
That's right.
And Bob, do you have anything other than that to add?
I think that's it, man. I think we hit on all the major things that we should have talked about, and I guess I'm to the point of saying go Vols.
Go Big Orange.